As tensions between South Africa and Rwanda reach an all-time high, President Paul Kagame has replied to President Cyril Ramaphosa by accusing his counterpart in Pretoria of falsifying facts. What was unsettling, however, was Kagame's last statement in response to Ramaphosa on X at 11 p.m. In response, Kagame said, "It is fine if South Africa want to help find peaceful solutions, but it is not in a position to act as a mediator or peacemaker. And Rwanda will deal with the matter in that context any day if South Africa prefers confrontation," Kagame said. Ramaphosa had already lamented the deaths of 13 brave South African troops who were devoted to their duty and committed to peace in a lengthy tribute that was posted on X. The conflict is the consequence of the Rwandan Defense Force, RDF, militia, and the rebel group M23 intensifying their engagement with the armed forces of the DRC, FARDC, and attacking peacekeepers from the SADC mission in the Democratic Republic of Congo, SAMIDRC, Ramaphosa stated. "I offer my deepest sympathies to their families, loved ones, and co-workers on behalf of the government and the people of our nation. We bend our heads in remembrance of their valiant and brave efforts to promote peace. We remember and grieve for them. The process of repatriating the bodies of the dead members of the South African National Defense Force is now under progress," Ramaphosa said. Personnel of the UN Organization Stabilization Mission in the DRC, MONUSCO, Brigade, and SAMIDRC personnel from other troop-contributing nations, namely Malawi and Tanzania, were killed in the assaults on peacekeepers. "We pay tribute to all the lives lost and offer our condolences to their families, governments, and people," Ramaphosa said. However, Kagame became enraged when the Rwandan Defense Force was referred to as a militia. Kagame claimed to have discussed the situation in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo with President Ramaphosa twice this week, including earlier on Thursday. "There is a great deal of misrepresentation, intentional attacks, and even lies in what South African officials and President Ramaphosa himself have said about these discussions in the media. It says a lot about how these crucial issues are being handled if words can transform a conversation into a public declaration. The Rwanda Defense Force is not a militia, it is an army. SAMIDRC has no place in this scenario and is not a peacekeeping force. In addition to collaborating with genocidal armed organizations like the FDLR that target Rwanda, it was approved by SADC as a belligerent force that would carry out offensive combat operations to support the DRC government in its struggle against its own people, threatening to bring the conflict to Rwanda itself," claimed Kagame. Once more, President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa recently sent a strong warning to Rwanda, saying that any attack against South African forces will be seen as a declaration of war. This declaration coincides with rising hostilities between the two countries, especially in relation to military actions in conflict areas. Due to their participation in many African wars, tensions between South Africa and Rwanda have been rising. In an effort to pacify areas riven by instability, South Africa has sent soldiers on a number of peacekeeping operations around the continent. However, there has been a major diplomatic gap as a result of accusations that Rwandan troops had reportedly engaged South African soldiers in aggressive clashes. The main purposes of South Africa's military deployments, according to President Ramaphosa, are peacekeeping and bolstering democratic processes. Any unprovoked attack on South African forces would not be tolerated and would be met with decisive action, he said, expressing grave worry over the reported instances. The South African government has asked for an urgent probe into the reported clashes. They have also sought out to international entities, notably the African Union, to intervene and ensure that such situations do not grow further. In response, Rwanda has denied any aggressive measures against South African forces, stating that their military operations are contained inside their boundaries and are simply defensive. Rwandan authorities have shown a desire to engage in talks to clarify any misconceptions and to ensure regional stability. This trend has received attention from numerous foreign parties who are worried about the possibility for increasing violence in the area. Analysts say that both governments should display moderation and participate in diplomatic conversations to avert further escalation. The situation remains unstable, and the international community is constantly following the relations between South Africa and Rwanda. The focus is on resolving the conflicts amicably and making sure that Bilater doesn't sabotage cooperative efforts to achieve stability in Africa.